You found it. Your home for the best content on your favorite team, the Fighting Tigers of LSU. Do us a favor, subscribe to the channel, leave your comments below, and be sure to smash that like button. So as we were going off air Monday, we got word in recruiting circles that Cai Bates had decommitted from LSU. So if you're not familiar, Cai Bates, 4-star cornerback out of Orlando, the number 11 cornerback in the country, the number 101 overall player in the country. He's a top 20 player in the state of Florida. That's all according to On3. Decommitted from LSU, a guy who had been committed since July. And in part, I think this stings because from a fan's perspective, we look at Cai Bates decommitting and go, man, this defense is so bad this year. And you lost Andre Evans, the cornerback out of Nashville. Now you lose Cai Bates, the cornerback out of Orlando. Like, what's going on? And we talk about it all the time that recruits look at things through a different lens. Recruits look at things through a different lens than the fan. You know, the fan looks at a player decommitting and says, see, nobody wants to play for our defense. They stink. A recruit looks at it oftentimes and says, man, that's a really good offense, and there is playing time available immediately in that secondary. I can go there and play right away at LSU, SEC, 100,000 people, all that stuff. That's the way a recruit looks at it. And with that being the case, you probably think to yourself, all right, Matt, well, there's playing time to be had at LSU, and it's DBU, and it's LSU, and it's the SEC, and all that stuff. Why did Cai Bates decommit? And I haven't talked to Cai Bates. I don't know the answer to that question. But there's a lot of circumstantial evidence around this that I think leads you to the answer. Look at On3. They're projecting Cai Bates now with a 24% chance to end up at Florida State, 17% chance he ends up at Tennessee, 14% LSU, 9% Alabama. When I scroll and look at the players or the teams that are really his highest, the ones he's most strongly considering, it's Florida State, Tennessee, LSU, Alabama, Texas A&M. And you can scroll a little further down. Kentucky, Ohio State, way down there at the bottom. See Florida. And I can't help but think, why the Florida Gators, with Corey Raymond as their secondary coach, who, by the way, I think we all agree has a pretty good eye on talent in the secondary, why Florida wouldn't be pushing harder for a guy like Cai Bates? And maybe that's your answer. Here's what I mean. So LSU has now had 2 cornerbacks here recently decommit. Again, we know LSU's problem in the secondary. You don't need me to spell it out, right? It's been a bad year. But you've had 2 players at the position you really need to attack the most decommit from your class. Andre Evans out of Nashville, Cai Bates out of Orlando. And it's not to say they don't play good football in other places, but just follow me here. In that same time, LSU has picked up 2 commitments from cornerbacks. P.J. Woodland, a 3-star out of Hattiesburg, who's ranked number 558 nationally, the 19th best cornerback. And Bernard Causey out of JFK in New Orleans, a 3-star, ranked number 1,004 nationally, and the 103rd best cornerback. And you might be saying to yourself, my goodness. LSU loses their 2 top-rated cornerbacks in this class, including a top 100 player overall. And you trade those 2 guys effectively for a guy ranked number 558 and a guy ranked number 1,004. What in the world are you doing? I have an idea. You see, last year, Brian Polian was LSU's recruiting coordinator. And when Brian Polian was putting together LSU's list and ranking prospects and targets and all that sort of stuff, LSU hopped on a plane and went out to Las Vegas to get Jeremiah Hughes, a 3-star out of Bishop Gorman. I don't mean any disrespect to that young man. He's on the LSU team. He signed. He's here. Going through a tough year right now in that secondary. It's not playing well. But my point is, you got on a plane and invested all those resources to recruit a 3-star out of Bishop Gorman in Las Vegas. Not Eli Ricks out of California, 5-star, number 1 corner in the country. Jeremiah Hughes, 3-star out of Las Vegas. That mentality is a Notre Dame mentality. What I mean is, at Notre Dame, if you want to go get any type of talent, you got to get on a plane. Do you understand? Like, there's no talent in the state of Indiana. We've been over this many, many times. It's why Notre Dame has lost any inherent advantage that it had based on its history and tradition. Indiana has virtually no talent. So you got to go get on a plane. Brian Kelly's last recruiting class in South Bend encompassed some 18 different states. When you recruit Louisiana, you can throw a rock and hit a 3-star. I mean, just go on your campus at U High. They got 3-stars running around everywhere. And the biggest difference from a year ago with Brian Polian and today is who's running that recruiting ship for LSU today. Who's putting that board together? Who's identifying talent? Who LSU is going to target? Well, it's Frank Wilson. So ask yourself this. Would you rather invest resources in going to Nashville to recruit Andre Evans and Orlando to recruit Cai Bates? Or would you rather go get the players that Frank Wilson wants to get in Hattiesburg and New Orleans? I don't know the two guys that decommitted. I don't know them at all. So it's unfair for me to say anything about them that I'm just unaware of. But here's what I'm pretty certain. If Frank Wilson says, hey, you know who I want at cornerback? I want the kid out of Olive Branch, Mississippi, and the kid out of JFK in New Orleans. You want to know what LSU's probably getting in those two dudes? Dogs. And you know what this LSU defense has none of? Dogs. So, yeah, you can melt over star ratings. I don't care. You know what I want? Dudes that can play. Do you trust your coach's talent evaluation? A year ago, I was asking that question about Brian Polian. Today, I'm asking it about Frank Wilson. Who do you trust more? Easy answer for me. Look, when you look at the cornerback room for next year, J.K. Johnson's going to be coming off injury. Maybe he's pretty good. Zy Alexander has the opportunity to come back. He was your best guy this year. Not a bad place to start. Welch, Stamps, Toviano, Hughes, they'll all be back, presumably. I've been told LSU's going to target at least one, maybe a couple of cornerback transfers, likely guys from the state of Louisiana, which makes sense. And then you have all of the incoming freshmen as well. Point being, you're rebuilding that room in the manner and in the image that once made it great. Do you trust Frank Wilson? Because I do. Would you love to have Cai Bates in the class? Sure. But my guess is they're pretty happy with the guys they got. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact. And be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.